Hello, my name is Novikov, and I am the first year master's student at ITMO University. And today I'm gonna tell you about the subfield of science at intersection of computational linguistics, computer science, cognitive science, and artificial intelligence. About natural language processing, or simply NLP. All the links that were used to create this video will be in the description. As I said previously, NLP is a subfield of several science fields. The main goal of NLP is to help computers understand the human or natural language. For people, the language in which they communicate doesn't seem to be something unusual and difficult, but for computer, the task of understanding and interpreting the language is extremely difficult. The rigid, rule-bounded format of spreadsheets and databases is ideal for machines, and the random, context-dependent, seemingly unrelated nature of human languages confuses AI. At the moment, NLP is not yet so strongly developed that it would radically change the world of professions, but now a rather young direction of science is actively used in almost all areas of our life. Now let's get on with the history of NLP. The study of natural language processing generally started in the 50s, although some work can be found from the earlier periods. In 1950, Alan Turing published an article titled Computing Machinery and Intelligence, which proposed what is now called the Turing test as a criterion of intelligence. Furthermore, up to the 80s, most NLP systems were based on the complex sets of handwritten rules. Starting in the late 1980s, however, there was a revolution in NLP with the introduction of machine learning algorithms for language processing. Some of the earliest used machine learning algorithms, such as decision trees, produced systems of hard if-then rules similar to existing handwritten rules. Since the statistical revolution in the late 80s and mid-90s, much natural language processing research has relied heavily on machine learning and currently relying even more on machine learning because of the big breakthrough, the now famous subfield of machine learning called deep learning, DL. In the 2010s, deep learning took over and deep natural network style machine learning methods became widespread in natural language processing due to results showing that such techniques can achieve state-of-the-art results in many natural languages tasks, such as language modeling, parsing, and many others. At the moment, the wave of interest in NLP is only growing. Experts believe that the next breakthrough in NLP will be colossal, driving the shift from structured databases to unstructured data as a text and dramatically improving the ability of machines to understand people in everyday conversation. With the power of deep learning models, we can process text, time series, and sequence data in general. The two fundamental deep learning algorithms for sequence processing are recurrent neural networks and 1D convents, the 1D version of 2D, 3D convents used in the computer vision domain. As far as applications for this technology goes, I believe we are only limited to our imagination. The same goes to most of AI subfields, but not all. With that, let me list down a few of most obvious applications. The first one is document classification. such as identifying the topic of the article or author of the book. Time series classification, such as weather forecast or stock market value prediction. Sequence to sequence learning, such as decoding an English sentence into a French sentence. Well, the field of NLP has undergone a lot of transformations over the years, and by far the most noticeable was from 2010 after the deep learning boom till now, which has brought a few fundamental concepts that culminated with many years of research. Now let's figure out in which areas of our life NLP can be applied. Actually, almost any area is touched. For example, finance and insurance, industry and logistics, medicine, IT and telecommunications, law practice, media, advertising, science, education, government and security. All these areas are touched by NLP. Typical applications in NLP include speech recognition, spoken language understanding, dialect system, lexical analysis, parsing machine translation, knowledge graph, information retrieval, question answering, sentiment analysis, social computing, natural language generation, and summarization. Now, let's consider what are the challenges in NLP nowadays. Based on the conference paper of scientists from International Islamic University Chittagong, the first problem is natural language processing in dialect systems. The first and foremost challenge of the chatbot is to handle NLP issue by mastering their syntax. If we ask our dialect system what's the time, we will get an answer. But what if we ask, could you check the weather please? You might not get the proper answer. Such type of programming issues falls in natural language processing category, which is a key focus for companies like Facebook, Google, with the deep text and syntax net respectively. Second challenge is models design. Deep learning offers a way to harness large amount of computation and data with little engineering by hand. With distributed representations, various deep models have become the new state-of-the-art methods for NLP problems. Supervised learning is the most popular practice in recent deep learning research for NLP in many real-world scenarios. However, we have unlabeled data which require advanced, unsupervised or semi-supervised approaches. In cases where there is a lack of labeled data for some particular classes, or the appearance of the new class while testing the model, strategies like zero-shot learning should be employed. These learning schemes are still in their developing phase, but we expect deep learning-based NLP research to be driven into the direction of making better use of unlabeled data. We expect such trends to continue with more and better model design, and more other problems and interest tasks like hate speech detection improving, multitask learning algorithms improving, or for example algorithm for understanding the tonality of the text, taking into account sarcasm and irony, and so on. Why did I actually start learning NLP, and why should you start too? When I was studying my bachelor degree, I hated to go to different departments of the university because it was always time consuming and boring. And then I decided to change it and started the project for the university, developing a dialect system where any student could send a question to a chatbot and get the answer instantly. This was a really fun and interesting project that took me to the learning of NLP. Then I became a student of ITMO University, and now I'm working on even more interesting project connected to the medicine. And I am sure that you can find a lot of interesting tasks connected to NLP around you. For example, group of scientists in December of 2018 made a great research on using clinical natural language processing for health outcomes research. In this work, scientists provide a broad summary and outline of the challenging issues involved in defining appropriate intrinsic and extrinsic evaluation methods for NLP research that is to be used for clinical outcomes research and vice versa. A particular focus is placed on the mental health research, an area still relatively understudied by the clinical NLP research community, but where NLP methods are of a notable relevance to provide the rigorous evaluation for the field to advance further. They provide actionable suggestions, including a minimal protocol that could be used when reporting clinical NLP methods development and its evaluation. Or we can even try to solve some politics problems using the NLP. For example, Alexander Weibel, professor of computer science at Karlsruhe University Institute of Technology and also professor at the School of Computer Science at Carnegie Mellon University, says an important political dimension is to discuss how we pick projects that contribute to a society that we want to live in. And that means speech translation, because this is one of the biggest problems in Europe and the world. Europeans speak 23 different languages, and these are only the official ones. In fact, there are many more languages in Europe. And this situation generates separation, misunderstandings, and also a considerable loss in business opportunities. Finally, if you decided to start learning NLP, I would firstly recommend you to start learning Python. And if you already know the basics, you can start with the following books: Practical Natural Language Processing. The second book, Natural Language Processing with PyTorch, Build Intelligence Language Applications Using Deep Learning. And the third book, Deep Learning in Natural Language Processing. Also, you can find a lot of different courses on the internet. There are a couple of them. For example, you can find an interesting course on Coursera, or another course on the stepic.org. And I hope all these materials and articles that I provided in the descriptions are going to help you starting learning the natural language processing. And in conclusion, I would like to summarize all of the above. NLP is a very large and interesting field. Its study and development is incredibly important in the modern world, and its application in various areas of our life can improve the quality of our everyday life. I hope that after watching this video, it became clearer for you what NLP is, its development trends and problems, and you will have a desire to future study and adjust this sphere. Goodbye.